Welcome to the Dental Handoff. I am Dr. Kelly Tanner, and today I have a very special guest, my friend, former student, because now she is an RDH, Faith Ballard. Faith, thanks for being on today, especially with a full day of hygiene.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yeah, so Faith is a new graduate, and I always love the perspective of someone who is emerging right out of hygiene school. Of course, in hygiene school, it's its own thing. Everybody
Mhm.
knows that. And then going from that, making the transition of untethering all of the and the ties to the instructors of going, okay, can I really do this? Can I really do this? And then finding a job and then doing it every day. And hey, how has that been for you?
It has been quite an adventure, just getting from the school aspect to the working aspect. I kind of thought it would just be like jumping from school to a job, but it was actually a process. Getting my license took a minute. It didn't take as long as I thought it would, but there's no cut and dry ABC. It takes this long, boom, 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 you've got it. It's kind of all up in the air. It might come at this date. It might come at this time. And so you're kind of left playing this guessing game with your potential employer, and they're like, when is your license coming? And you have to say, I don't know. It's because they want to book patients right away. And
Mm-hmm.
if you say too early of a date, then you're going to be stuck with patients but with no license, so you won't be able to practice, and they're going to have to reschedule patients. And if you say too far away of a date, which is what I did, then you're going to be stuck there, with this job lingering in the balance, and they're waiting on you. And it was so frustrating. I ended up being able to be a hygiene assistant during that time. um, I said it was coming in July. It ended up coming like 2 or 3 days later. So I had my license, and they had waited they had kind of pushed the schedule out for me. So it just ended up being this kind of like awkward 3 or 4 weeks of time where I didn't have patients, but they did schedule me like last minute patients every few days. So they were paying me some days hygiene assistant pay, some days hygienist pay. And it was just this awkward gray area, but they're such a wonderful group of people that they made it work for me. But I would say that was the most confusing thing, was like figuring out when is my license coming in. And you know me, I do everything early, and I have all my ducks in a row, and I have everything turned in, um, stapled, not paper clipped. Um, and I have it in on time. And so I had turned everything in. I had my boards done. I was ready to get my license. And
Yeah.
anyway, so that was frustrating, just getting to work. But I am finally working full time, and just really loving it. Yeah, that was the most awkward thing, just bridging the gap between school and work.
And the reality is, too, is that any licensed professional has been in that limbo. Every hygienist, every single dentist, if you're waiting on any type of certification to be able to do a procedure, we've been there. And so I would say that probably in their heart of hearts, the docs and the hygienists where you were, they gave a lot of grace to that because they knew that it's roulette on when it's going to show up in the mail.
Just like everything else, they were amazing about the whole process. I can't say enough good things about the office I'm at. I'll try so hard to not go on about them, but I really found I struck gold with the office that I ended up being able to be lucky enough to be a part of. Which leads me to really, I know you're probably going to ask me about tips about finding an office, I'm guessing. And if not, like, that's one of my biggest things that I would say for new grads is I did a lot of interviews. I got a job offer at every interview I went to, just because that's the way things are right now. It has nothing to do with me. It just has to do with I'm a hygienist and there are lots of openings. And there were a lot of places offering a lot of money, honestly. And I would go in, and when they would say, "Do you have any questions?" One of my questions would be, I'm going to ask something weird. It's me. So I asked, I was like, "Do you guys eat lunch together?" And they would look at me like, "That's weird." And they would, whatever their answer was, that would kind of tell me about the culture of the office, and I would ask, "Do you do things outside of the office together? Do you go to dinners together? Do you hang out together? What is your Christmas situation?" Like, because what I was looking for was a culture of togetherness and a culture of support. And you would be surprised how many offices, not only that I interviewed at, but that I have temped at, that these groups of people that we spend 8-10 hours a day with, they don't eat lunch together. They don't do anything after work together. They don't bring each other meals when they're sick. They don't know each other's last names. Like they don't share in each other's lives. And that was something that was really important for me as I was looking for an office, and was the number one reason I chose the practice that I chose, was because the culture there is rich. They support each other. I've had one of my first days was really hard. And I woke up the next day to a text from my dentist, one of the dentists that owns the practices. And it was just like, "Yesterday was hard. I noticed basically, starting out can be difficult. We learn from our mistakes. You're going to do great. We've all got your back. We support you. You're on our team. You're one of us," basically. I mean,
That's so good.
who does that? You know what I mean? So
Your office.
I know. And I couldn't believe it. I was just like, man, that's straight up gold. So that's what I would say is and he had told me at some point, like, he'd interviewed people where the first thing out of their mouth was, "How much does the job pay?" And he was like, I knew then, like, that they didn't hold the same values that we do. And when our first interactions was, "I'd like to interview you and see if our values align." And it's so funny because I heard him say that and I was like, that's such a Kelly Tanner word. Like I could hear you say, "Let's see if your values really align." And I was like, where have I heard that before? Like at that moment, I had a good feeling about him. Yeah, so I would say to new grads, really, really search for that culture in the office, because in the end, it's not about money. And I don't care. Like, you can have a really, really, really hard day, and you might be like seeing money signs. Okay, I'm having a bad day, but I'm making a lot of money. That goes away quickly. But when you're having a really bad day and like every single person from that office stops by your operatory and is like, "Hey, are you okay? How can I support you? How can I help you? Can I take that tray for you? Can I help you wipe down your room? Do you need to talk?" That stuff is worth that, making you want to come back the next day. That's where it's at.
Yeah. Priceless.
So,
Priceless,
yes.
baby. Priceless.
Yeah.
So how would you say that the leadership, because we all learned a lot about ourselves in hygiene school, a lot about ourselves. And how would you say that the things that you learned there prepared you for what you've gone through and where you are right now with getting the job and doing the day-to-day, mentally, mindset wise, whatever?
Well, mindset wise, I learned a lot from you about mindset, and just keeping not a fixed mindset, but a growth mindset.
A growth mindset. Yeah, gotcha.
Yes. Progress forward. We can call it that now.
Yeah, it's that now.
It's the same thing. But where I'm always listening, learning, watching, seeing how I can do better, be better, be a better clinician, I've been doing something a certain way forever, but someone comes along and has like another, "Oh, I actually do it this way." I don't need to be stuck in my, I've been doing it this way forever because that's what works for me. I can look at their way and say, oh man, that's awesome. I'm going to try this new way. So instead of just being stuck in my ways, I'm always going to be looking for different and better ways to do things. And I definitely learned that in school, instead of just needing to be right and needing to do things my way and have other people do things my way and expecting me from other people, if that makes sense. And I've also, I'm a doer, I'm a helper. I'm definitely a helper. And I got caught many times in school, like helping, and then expecting other people to be helpers as well. And when they weren't, I would get really frustrated about it. And that's not fair, because everybody's not in that place where they're either able to help or wanting to help, or for whatever reason. And it's not my place to get frustrated about that. And that was very difficult. You watched me probably go through that. That was very difficult for me. And so I had to learn how to help out of a place of either not help, because I don't have to help everyone. Number one, I had to learn that I don't have to help everyone.
Boundaries.
Yeah. But that if I was going to help people or come alongside and work with someone, that it was because I really wanted to, and that they didn't owe me anything after that. They didn't have to help me back. I don't necessarily know what to title that, but that was a big one for me, not expecting anything in return. Not that it was transactional for me in doing that in the first place, but I think I just expected it back subconsciously, and it would really frustrate me when other people didn't put in the same amount of effort that I did in sterilization, or you know what I mean. And so now I feel like I'm able to freely do whatever I'm going to do without needing anyone else to do the same thing that I'm doing.
Yeah, it's kind of like expecting for, I'm not saying that anyone in your class were children or anything. I'm just saying it's like when you see that the trash needs to be emptied at home and your kids don't take the same initiative that you know that you taught them, and it's frustrating because it comes from a place of, what in the world is going, it becomes frustrating. Like, they didn't see that. Am I the person who has to do that? So that resentment can build up quickly.
Right. Oh yeah. The resentment factor was pretty big there until I decided to get over myself. And how has that helped me in my workplace? Well, obviously huge. I it hasn't come up at all, because I'm happy to help where I am, because I feel like everyone's happy to help where I am. They have there's a sign in the back room that says something to the effect of, let's all fight together let's fight against the problem instead of against each other. Something to that effect on the back wall. And that's basically the way we do things. If there's a problem, we work together to solve it instead of fighting amongst each other. And there are systems for everything, and you just kind of want to refill the trash bags, and everybody seems to be that way.
It's like, no, I've got it. No, I've got it. No, I've got it.
Yes, I love it. It makes me so happy.
Well, I know that's one of your love languages is sterilization.
Yeah.
It is.
I don't get to do it as much as I want to, but because I'm so busy, but every once in a while I get to sneak in there.
So tell me about the transition from going to 3-hour appointments in hygiene school to real-time private practice times. How has that been? Do you feel like that? And this is just all of us being authentic, Faith. There is no wrong answer here, because I know that I missed the distals of second molars for probably about 3 months. Who knows when I first started, So what do you feel like has been the biggest learning opportunity for you there?
I luckily got to do a lot of volunteering at Lackey Clinic, which was, anyone who might be listening, it's the the free clinic near us where we got to volunteer. And so we only had our hour at those clinic appointments. And so we did get to learn some time management there. But what I did in my transition, and this ended up being kind of a blessing, is I got to do some temp work in between working at my office and getting my license. So I was doing some temp work, and the office that I temped for was giving me like 45-minute appointments right off the bat, like drop my first appointment. And they were not doing probing. They were not doing extra oral exam. They were not doing cancer screening. They were not doing, anything like that. So I really was just thrown in the deep end from the first day, and I just did as much as I could. And I ended up not going back to temp for that office. I told the temping people, like, no way am I going back there. They were using Dawn dish soap in their ultrasonic. But anyway, but time-wise, I did learn very quickly to go a lot faster. But yeah, my office that I work for now, they gave me a lot of, they gave me longer appointments at first, and then now I'm down to basically what everyone else is at, which is an hour for a regular prophy or perio maintenance appointment, and then we get an hour and a half for a new patient or an SRP. And we do it all. You would love it because we do everything. We do probing, perio probing one visit, and the next visit is bite wings, and the next visit is perio probing, and then we do everything. So they're getting all their stuff, and they're getting all their exams, and they're getting everything is
by the book.
Yeah, and,
good.
So that's amazing. But temping really did force me to learn some time management, and I highly suggest that people temp right out of school. As soon as you get your license, jump in there, do some temping. It sounds really scary, and it is really scary. But after your first couple patients, once you realize where everything is, and you make your little packets for the first 4 or 5 patients a day, and you have them there ready to go, you'll get it. You'll be there.
Yeah. And then everything else just sort of starts to click. I mean, it's a little bit slow at first, but then you're going, okay, I know how to do this. It sort of time just compresses, and you just go back into almost riding a bike. I feel like it was that even when I graduated, because it had been instilled in me so much in school that it was, okay, I know to do this. I know to do this. I know. And I was like, whoop, I think I forgot something. What did I forget? Okay. Kind of like, did I forget my keys in the house? What am I forgetting when you walk out of the house? It was like, what am I forgetting right now? Oh, take the letter apron off the patient 45 minutes later.
I've left that on a little bit too long. The most difficult thing I have found is figuring out other offices' x-ray situation, because every office has a different way that they do it. I have one office I temp at. They use stick-on sensor holders. Have you ever even heard of such a thing? Yeah. I hate them with my deep soul cries out. I'm like, why do you have these? I hate them so much. And then they rip off the plastic sheath, and you got to put a new sheath on. And I'm like, it takes and then you have to leave the room and press the button for every single x-ray. And it's very frustrating, but that's the way they do it.
Are you cone cutting? Are you opening your contacts?
Oh yeah, I've gotten pretty good at x-rays. I'm not perfect. I still have room for growth, but my goodness.
Radiology is fun. So
why aren't you wearing the shirt?
I should have worn it tonight.
Another tip that I've learned since I started, and this was something that Ashley, our lead hygienist, taught me like first day, is polish first, because it gets all the biofilm off so that you can see exactly where you need to Cavitron. And that was a huge time saver. So I do that. I polish first now, and that has been a life changer for me. Um,
Awesome.
yeah.
Any other tips that you would give to people who were, what about your 1 month ago, your 1 month ago self? Like, what advice would you have given to yourself one month ago?
Um, Honestly, this is probably just personal, but I would have said not to be so hard on myself. Um, Although I am doing better at that than I probably ever have, but just still to not be so hard on myself. That take a deep breath. I'm making a dumb mistake right now, like putting the sensor in backwards when I'm taking this x-ray. I made a dumb mistake, and that's okay. Take a deep breath, regroup, keep on going instead of getting myself stressed out. We all make dumb mistakes sometimes,
Hmm.
except Nina. And it's okay. I had to say that because she doesn't make mistakes, and that's okay. I love her and miss her so much. Um, we all make mistakes, and don't let that throw you off. Just take a deep breath, keep on moving on. And confidence is so important. And one thing, little trick I've learned, and
Okay.
this is also something I got from Yana. They don't know what they don't know. If you make a
That's
mistake,
right.
don't tell your patient. Don't tell them because they don't know they don't maybe know that you forgot to take the x-rays on the computer and now you're taking them again. They don't know. Just do it. They don't know. And you just appear competent when you just, I got to go grab an instrument, be right back. And then you go out of the room and you finagle whatever you need to finagle or whatever. Take your breath, freak out. And then you go back in there and you appear competent and confident. That's what I would have told myself a month ago. Calm down, get your confidence about you, take a deep breath, and just move on. Again, everyone's not like me. They probably already learned that in hygiene school, but it took me a minute.
Well, I think that there is a certain type of student that it just is our second nature to not want to calm down, to get it right. And I am sensing a theme because even if you would have said that to yourself in hygiene school, if I would have said that to you, what would you have said? Like, I already am.
With an accent,
Don't
though.
you know? Yeah.
What do you think I'm
So
doing?
Faith, what do you think I'm doing? You would come out of your cubicle and do like a little Tasmanian tornado, and I'm like, what are we doing right now?
They also don't.
But
Yeah,
it's so much easier.
I had like
God.
3 or 4 people ask me today if I was okay, and I asked one of the other hygienists. I was like, do I look unwell? I said everybody's asking me if I'm okay. She goes, you move really fast, and I don't think they're used to that yet. I was like, yeah,
You do. You dart. You dart.
I'm small, and I gotta get where I'm going. I gotta go. Let's go.
So breathe, give yourself grace. I mean, it's so much easier to say that in retrospect than it is in the moment when you're freaking out that I know you're thinking you just failed
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
So, any other final words that you want to offer listeners about their senior year in hygiene school, about what it takes the first week? I don't know, whatever it is, and it doesn't need to just be one, it can be several.
Um, your senior year, you're gonna do it. You're gonna graduate. Take a deep breath. It's all gonna work out, even if the nitrogen tank breaks or all the staff quits. It's gonna be fine. You're gonna graduate. um, that gave me PTSD. And And
Got you
I don't know.
through it. Got you
I
through it.
know. I don't know. I feel like I got so lucky finding the office I got. I am just so, I feel like everything was worth it because I found the place I found. I wish everybody could be as lucky as I was, but I would say be very picky about the office you say yes to, because you're spending more time with those people than you are with anyone else. And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. Is it always comes down to relationships, and your relationships with those people, your patients, yes, but you're spending all of your time with those people, and those become your people. They say you're most like the five people you spend the most time with, and those people are going to become your people, and you're kind of your second family, like it or not. And do you want to be around people who are stressful and don't appreciate you and you don't like being around, or do you want to find people who value you and that you feel uplifted by, and that you want to uplift, and that you want to pour into, and that you want to be poured into? So I would say just be very selective about the place that you say yes to. Um, that I think is the most important thing in coming out of school and picking a job.
Yeah, you interviewed a lot of people though. I say you had a lot of interviews, but you interviewed a lot of offices to find that. I don't even know how many interviews did you go through before finding?
I think I went on 9 interviews,
Hmm.
um, and I temped at 4 places, 4 different places.
Yeah,
Um,
which was
so I know,
valuable.
yeah, and all the
Did
I
you do
guess
any?
those count as interviews as well. But what were you going to
Did you
say?
do any work? Did you do working interviews for any of those positions?
I kind of did a working interview for the place I'm at now. It was more of a shadowing day because I didn't have my license. It was more of a shadowing
Mm.
day. They called it a working interview, but I didn't do any work. I was just following a hygienist around and watching what she did. So, but other than that, no, because I didn't have my
Okay.
license, so I really couldn't.
Right, right. So be picky, be vigilant. I love the question that you asked about, do you guys spend time together outside of the office? And I think too, though, also it could be that people are at different stages of their life because sometimes people are running kids or going to pick things up or preparing things, but it does tell you a lot about the office and the culture of the
Mhm.
office. It's not just mouth service, it's what they do and how they show up every day.
Sure. And like my office, we don't eat, everybody doesn't eat lunch together every day, but a few of us do. Like, there's always a few people who do stay, and like they go and have a staff evening once every like 2 months where the doctors take everybody out for dinner, and then they go do something like putt-putt golf or something all together. And like in August, I don't know exactly how they earned this, but they're going on a cruise all together in August. And I
Oh,
think
that's
that was,
awesome.
yeah, and I think they've been working on that for a couple years. So um, things like that, like they are spending time together, and and they'll have like a dress up day. We had crazy sock and hair day last week, and we had red, white, and blue day on around 4th of July, and just silly things like that that bring you together. Even if it's just to be silly, and there's a employee of the month on the wall, and everybody writes their little note. And um, I think I'm going to say the lead assistant, but I'm not exactly sure. But one of the assistants, she manages the calendar, and she puts everybody's birthday. And then I don't know, it's a lot of things to just build up the team. You'd love it. It's so cute. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily just eating together, but that was just kind of my little way to gauge it. But yeah,
No, but I
ask a lot
love
of
that. But
questions.
it tells you a lot. It tells you a lot.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
at Faith, it's always a pleasure spending time with you. And I knew that you would find your place that you were absolutely in love with because of the work and the heart that you put into it. Hopefully, the listeners found some encouragement from what you are saying because it is all possible. You just have to believe that it is, right?
right. Yep.
Believe it.
That's right. Mindset's so
The biggest
important.
thing.
Yep,
It
that's
really
right.
is. And so, Faith, thank you for being on today. For all of our listeners, thank you for all that you do and the patients you serve, communities you serve. If you wouldn't mind, I always ask to give a 5-star rating to the Dental Handoff. Go onto Apple, give 5 stars, and then go over to YouTube. Click that subscribe button so the AI knows that it's something that you like and it recommends it to other people who might like it too. Thank you. We will see you next time. Faith, thanks again. See you soon. Bye, everyone.